Hi, good morning, everyone. It is Wednesday, April 9th, 2025, and it's 8:20 a.m. here in Chicago. So, I was reading about, like everyone else, the situation with a young man named Carmelo Anthony and him killing the guy who was messing with him, basically, in Texas. Sorry. And here's my opinion on that. First of all, regardless of race, we'll start with regardless of race, but I have to bring race into it. Regardless of race, first of all, I don't fuck with nobody. I don't mess with nobody. Because you never know. People are on their last straw. And the littlest thing can trigger someone. Let alone it be you just fucking with them for no reason. Let alone that. I don't fuck with nobody. Even if they start with me. If it's a complete stranger, as long as they're not putting their hands on me or spitting at me or anything like that, they can talk all they want, And I don't even think, even if they're talking, I don't even think I'm pulling out my camera to record it. I just ain't got time. I don't ever have to see you again, Go get your 5 minutes of fame or let out your hatred somewhere else, So I'm not fucking with nobody. I mind my business, and that's regardless of race. Stop fucking with people. Mind your business. And that's why that boy ended up dead. People are not fucking playing. And so, let me tell you what I think happened. I think so many black men especially, they've seen how that story ends up. They end up dead. And the white person gets away with it. And not only does the white person get away with it, the comments are full of people blaming the dead victim and supporting the white person. So now a lot of black people, especially black men, they know they have a choice to make, or they feel like they have to quickly make a choice. I see how this ends. I've seen this story before. I'll end up dead. He'll end up scot-free, with a huge amount of support. He might become a superhero. Or I kill him. And I think that this boy felt like he was fighting for his life. I think he thought that it would end up like so many other situations where he didn't do shit. He didn't start with nobody, but he ended up dead, and they villainized him in the news, and the comments are full of racists and white people who claim not to be racist. And he has seen that story too many times before, and he made a decision. And I think that that's going to happen even more, because you're leaving black men especially with no choice. They either end up dead and the white person gets away with it, or they end up in jail, but they are saving their own life, which is the natural reaction of any human being, to save their own life. And I think that's what happened. I really do. There's a guy who told a story on TikTok. He said that he went out with a bunch of friends. He was the only black guy. They were all white. And they set him up. They tried to get him killed in a sundown town. He told the whole story. It's on TikTok. And, which this part I don't understand. He said one of them had already done something before that tried to get him fucked up. Which makes me ask, why the fuck would you go away with him or anybody associated with him? Why would you go on a trip with him or anybody associated with him? That part I didn't understand. Yep, but they tried to kill him in a sundown town. And then think of all the times you've seen on the news where there was a boat party full of people, only one person ends up dead, and it was the one black person on the boat. Everybody else managed to survive, but the one black person on the boat ended up dead. You know what I mean? Or at a house party, same thing. The one black person at the party ended up dead. I think it happens more often than we think. I'm not saying it happens a lot, but I think it happens more often than we think. And a lot of times they get away with it. So I mean, this kind of thing isn't new, you know. This guy has seen this story before, especially, you know, probably, I'm assuming living in Texas, too, he probably saw, you know, how shit ends up. And he made a quick choice. If I don't kill this man, he's not going to leave me alone till I end up dead, because he wants to become a superhero for killing a nigger. That's probably what was going through his mind, you know. And leave people the fuck alone. And then as far as, I remember I asked my friend, now this might be in a different country, but human behavior is human behavior, so it doesn't matter. I remember I asked my friend, who is from one of the roughest parts of Jamaica, in Kingston, Tivoli Gardens, and I asked him, I said, how is it you guys are so quick to start blazing at the cops? Like you're so quick to shoot a cop. And he said, are you crazy? Once they pull up, they're going to kill you. You got to hurry up and try to kill them first. And it made perfect sense. The cops don't pull up to harass people or say, hey, buddy, where you going? They don't do that where he's from. When they pull up, they're going to start blazing. And so the guys know that they better start blazing too. And that's just how it is in certain parts. You know what I mean? So my point is that human behavior is human behavior. If you start to see too many times where it doesn't end well and somebody ends up dead, your first instinct is gonna be to protect your life, right? That's even the rule in boxing. Protect yourself at all times. You know, that kid in Texas felt like, if I don't do this, it's going to end up where he kills me. Because I've seen this story a million times. And he's going to get away with it because my life doesn't mean anything in my own country. They'll make him a hero. That's what happened. You know, that's truly what I think was going through his mind. It was do or die. And leave people the fuck alone and mind your business. And then when you go in the comments, this is a perfect example when white people kill black people because a black person went to start some shit with a white person. Even when they were not going to harm them, the white person kills them. And then when you go and read the comments, everybody's talking about, well, he had to defend himself. Defend yourself first. What he did was threatening. He shouldn't have been bothering him in the first place. He had every right to protect himself. It's our right to bear arms. And then when the roles are reversed, what happens is they lose all of that moral code. All that moral code gets lost, and it turns into white supremacy. So they have no shame. They have no shame in fully supporting when a white person kills a black man, and we feel as though it was unnecessary. But then if the same exact thing happens, except now the victim is white and the person who had to kill them is black, that's when their moral code turns into white supremacy. That's what happens, you know? I mean, how many times have we seen that, you know? I know one thing, if a white person came up to me and wouldn't stop fucking with me, the first thing I'm going to think is they want to kill a black person. And yes, that's how we think as black people. You want to get famous because you know your people will support you, and you'll probably get millions of dollars in GoFundMe, and you'll become a superhero. You killed yourself a nigger. You know, that's how black people think. But now, we're like, fuck that. I'll go to jail if I have to. You're not killing me. My first right as God's true child is to protect my life. You guys know how precious life is? Like, life is so precious. The way God designed us and the potential we have to be much more superior beings. Like, life is so precious. You have every right to protect your life. Nobody has any right to come and start shit with you for no reason in a country where based on their skin color, they'll get away with it. Like, white people literally can just murder black people and get away with it. They get all kind of GoFundMes for it. They get all kind of support for it. And nobody gives a shit. And then the comments are full of all of this right to bear arms, and he had a right to defend himself. He felt threatened. But again, you reverse the skin color. You don't have to reverse anything else in the situation. Reverse the skin color. And then all of those theoretical supports and moral code, none of that matters. It turns into white supremacy, you know? And so I totally understand, after seeing how this world works, why that Carmelo Anthony felt he needed to do what he did. I totally understand that, you know? But that's my take on it anyway. We just see it too much where it ends up where the black person gets murdered. And that kid definitely saw it. How many times has that kid been threatened or harassed by police, pulled over, blamed for something he didn't do? Like, he's seen it too many times. And he chose his life, you know? That's why you gotta leave people alone. Stop fucking with people, regardless of their race. You know, I wish I would go fuck with a woman just because she's real tiny and, you know, from China or white or black or anything. Like, I'm not fucking with nobody for no reason. You don't know these people. You better mind your business and just be ready to defend your life if they fuck with you. But if they're not bothering you, leave them alone. Like, you know, the world is still full of good people. You can make friends, you know. They could have become good friends. If that white boy had a different mindset, they could have become really cool friends. But instead, he's 6 feet under. He's pushing up daisies, you know. And the white people are mad because the roles are reversed and white supremacy comes first, you know. That's my opinion. Anyway, have a good day, everyone.